Welcome to the shooting show. This week we follow two stalkers out after Chinese water deer, and Wes Stanton reviews a shotgun that stood the test of time, the Remington 1100. 5 a.m. at the Beckerings Park Estate. A stone's throw from Woburn, it's an area steeped in history and full of wildlife. But we aren't here to see the sights. We're out with Paul Childerley, guiding Viking Arms' finest Bob Macarthur into his first Chinese water deer. This is no everyday stalk either. This is Paul's last day of guided stalking this season. He's keen to grass a couple more water deer to keep his population at an acceptable level throughout the closed season. There's no time to waste, we head out into the field. Paul has selected an early vantage point and we get there before it's light. We've picked the foggiest morning of the year to go stalking on, but Bob's not deterred, blasting away with his Swarovski ELs. Before long, the unmistakable form of a Chinese water deer emerges from the hedge line. We've been here less than half an hour and we're already in luck. But the fog puts paid to our efforts. With visibility so obscured, it's impossible to take on a safe, ethical shot. Despite the deer being at the base of a hill, the shot is still not on because of the poor visibility.
The fog was thick as you see on camera, just getting so close to them, and then them just disappearing into the mist. It was quite exciting. I'd say we saw maybe 12, 14. Quite phenomenal. I mean, I'm not used to seeing so many deer out in out on arable land.
The wait goes on, but the fog doesn't appear to be lifting anytime soon. On any other day this would have been the perfect location, but that's stalking for you. We decide to head back to base and bide our time. Two hours later we venture out once more, and conditions are a lot better. Paul knows his ground well and takes Bob to a spot where deer have regularly been sighted in the open. This is completely open ground with only the rolling landscape for cover. A slow single-file stalk is the only way forward, but it pays off as we spot what might be a deer just beyond an incline. It's a deer alright, lying out in full view. There's a clear backstop and all we need is a deer to stand up now.
We stand. Okay.
Our quarry takes its time but eventually presents the perfect angle.
Well done, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Good. Congratulations, first Chinese.
Yeah, it was indeed fantastic. I'm glad she went down. Excellent. Good.
Great. Right, let's go and have a look.
Okay, smash it.
A lot of hair come out of it, hasn't it?
We approach the fallen beast to confirm death and inspect the carcass. It's a doe and perfect for Paul's cull plan.
Good stuff. Younger doe, last year's fawn, so just coming up to a year old end of May.
We don't get them up in North Yorkshire, and they, for that, to see it, it's quite interesting.
Quite unusual, like stalking it really.
It is.
How they react. How you have to use the contours rather than trees and bushes.
No, indeed, yeah.
I was impressed with the bolt on.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, can you explain a little bit more about it?
It's the MacLeod RX Helix.
Yeah.
It's a straight pull rifle. So you just pull the bolt back, and it's as quick as that. You cycle another round, and what happens? It's on a helix system. On the last push of the bolt, the bolt engages into 6 lugs, and it twists in.
Really?
That's the name Helix. Yeah. And then on the pull back, for every inch of the bolt handle move, the actual bolt comes back 2 inches. It has a very interchangeable barrel. In fact, all you need to do is just take the fore end off. There's a lever underneath. You undo the lever. Barrel comes out with the bolt. Stick another calibre in.
Yeah, looks like it does a job.
It looks like it does.
Right, we'll carry this from back, and then we'll just have a quick look for that one on top of the hill.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That'll do, mate.
Great stuff.
Marvellous.
After the initial blank, Bob has finally got his first Chinese water deer on the ground.
Yeah, it was a lot easier. We had a lot more visibility. Visibility was very good, actually. And we saw quite a few, and obviously we shot one as well, so it's a bonus.
But we're not done yet. There are several deer lying out in a freshly drilled field right by our current location. We can't resist a quick recce. There's no doubt about it, this is a promising location. We head out into the middle of the field and immediately we spot a buck that looks like an ideal taker. Bob readies the rifle, but this buck seems to know what's up and offers everything but a good shot. First it refuses to get up, then agonisingly stands at the wrong angle. Paul tries a whistle to get its attention, but all too soon the opportunity is gone.
That's the exciting thing about stalking, you know. You're on stand, you're in the aiming position. It's who can wait the longest. And unfortunately we waited a little bit long, and the buck was up straight off and away from us. But you know, it could have gone either way, but it was very exciting. And of course, anticipation is a fantastic thing.
Bob heads for home having put one deer in the larder, but there's no rest for Paul. In the afternoon he takes Eley's Tomas Atienza out, hoping to get him a first water deer too. Novice stalker Tomas first takes a range test to prove his worth behind the rifle and get familiar with the Merkel helix.
In there. Yeah, perfect.
With the practice shots finding their mark perfectly, we waste no time heading out onto the estate, where Paul has earmarked a doe as a good one for Tomas to take. It's lying out in a field with little in the way of cover, but the field boundary is within a sensible range. The pair stalk along carefully. The doe is still lying down, but Paul reckons the next shot is on. Confidently, he guides Tomas through every stage of the stalk, right up to the shot.
It's facing away to take it in the back of the neck.
Tomas felt happy with the shot and the 30-06 Gecko round has done its job perfectly.
Well done.
Taking this home. There's one.
Great shot, Tomas.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
The deer really didn't know what hit it. We call in the pickup for easy extraction. Then Tomas is keen to walk over and inspect his first ever Chinese water deer.
Well done. Old doe. You feel the back? Poor condition. Good one to take out. Yeah, just
It's just like me.
Yeah, time of year, and yeah, good shot.
With a short but successful stalk complete, Paul can look back on another well-managed Chinese water deer cull.
We're right next to Woburn. A lot of my ground's next to Woburn, so you know it's where they originated from. And we managed to stock, so you know you've got a stock for the following year. Certain people, certain farmers don't like quite so many on the ground, and some will tolerate more. So basically just do a guide to what you want and take out what you need to take out. Weather permitted, you know, what the winter's like, how hard the winter is, the breeding season, vermin on the ground, the predation with crows and foxes are probably the two main things for Chinese water deer. And also sprayers, believe it or not, tractors in the tram lines run over a lot of fawns. So yeah, depending on what cropping there is, again, it affects on the population. So it's a good shot and job done, as they say.
Job done, we head back to the larder where both deer are already being processed. It's been a good day's work for Paul and a day to remember for both Bob and Tomas. Bob and Tomas there, proving dab hands at Chinese water deer stalking. And now, the shooting show news.
This is the Shooting Show news, with the CLA Game Fair less than 9 weeks away. There's a revolutionary new way for promising shooters to get the funding they need. The clay shooting community crowdfunding project allows shooters or teams to raise money to buy equipment or fund travel to competitions. Unlike previous methods of funding, anyone, including you, can sponsor a shooter for all or part of their total. Clay Shooting magazine has pledged to fund the last 10% of any successful bid itself. Visit the website on screen now to find out more. Complicated and unnecessarily bureaucratic. That's how BASC has described the current general licensing system. Chief Executive Richard Eley said the licenses need a complete overhaul to make them easier to understand. He said they should be stripped back, short and straightforward. A consultation on amendments to the general licence closed today. We'll bring you more news as it emerges. Playgrounds and rifle ranges are gearing up for National Shooting Week, which starts on Saturday and goes on until the last day of the month. Run by the Countryside Alliance with the support of politicians and Olympic medalists, the event will see members of the public take part in shooting for the first time. 60 shooting grounds have signed up to take part, ensuring the event will have a nationwide presence. A shoot has raised £16,000 for black grouse research. The World Pheasant Association's annual charity clay shoot at Argonne Shooting Ground 2 weeks ago saw 24 teams of 4 compete for the black grouse trophy, created by renowned sculptor Simon Gudgeon. The event raised vital funds for the WPA's research into the habitat loss and predation that threaten the black grouse. For more on this story, don't miss Modern Gamekeeping magazine. And finally, demand for Commonwealth tickets is so high that they crash the ticketing website and hotline. 100,000 extra tickets went on sale last Monday across all sports, including shooting. But a flood of customers quickly crashed the ticketing system. Commonwealth organisers shut down ticketing on Wednesday, but it has now been reopened. Commonwealth shooting events will take place at Barry Budden from the 25th to the 29th of July. John Lee won the Benelli Sporto Championships yesterday at West Midlands Shooting Ground. He and Carl Bloxham hit 117 to go into a shoot-off, where John hit 8 further targets to win a Benelli shotgun.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Obviously, the weight and balance is totally different to an over and under. But I went out for a bit of a shot on Wednesday. Shot terribly, if I'm honest. Nearly didn't come because of it. But it all come together today.
The event saw an increase in numbers take on the semi-automatic challenge. A full report can be read in the next edition of Clay Shooting magazine. That was the Shooting Show news.
Hi there, I'm Wes Stanton, editor of Clay Shooting magazine, and this afternoon I've been testing this rather smart looking Remington 1100 at Honesbury Shooting Ground in Warwickshire. For those of you interested in firearms history, the Remington 1100 celebrated its 50th birthday last year. Although Remington automatics these days aren't as popular as they were, this one certainly has its place. George Digweed last year had one of his most successful years to date. Now, he doesn't use a Remington 1100, but what he did do last year was shoot 1,000 straights at sporting. Now, if you go back to the early 70s, late 70s, nobody shot 100 straight at sporting. It just wasn't possible. And then somebody did one, out of the blue, in 1980. That chap's name was Duncan Lawton. He was 19 years old when he did it, and he did it with one of these, a Remington 1100. 2 years later, after Duncan shot the 100 straight with the Remington, he became the youngest ever person to win the World Fitusk Sporting Championship, again with a Remington 1100. Now, my first encounter with the Remington 1100 was in the mid-80s when I was a teenager. I went to Kibworth and I shot my first ever 25 straight at down the line with one of these. Here I am, nearly 30 years later. How has the Remington 1100 changed? Well, it looks pretty much the same, apart from the cosmetics of the stock. It's very much recognisable as a Remington 1100. Why would you change a design that's worked so well for 50 years? But there have been subtle changes on it. For example, the action cycles now, or loads rather, simply by pressing the plunger underneath. Very similar to how they used to work. You feed cartridges in there, but there used to be a little piece of metal there you had to press in order to get the bolt to lock back. That's been done away with, and that's certainly an improvement on these later models. So the overall lines of the gun have pretty much stayed the same. The safety catch system, quite quaint, really. It's always been like that. They've never done anything with it. It's a simple trigger block as opposed to anything more elaborate. So make sure you don't drop if there's a cartridge in, because theoretically it could go off. At the other end, spring-loaded recoil reducer is pretty good. Looks very similar to a Danushka or a countercoil, which are a suitable aftermarket recoil reducing system. And now this is a pre-market recoil reducing system on a gun that doesn't recoil very much. Shot it earlier today and it was so smooth. It was absolutely impeccable in its handling. One of the things I do remember about the Remington 1100 was a very shiny bolt that it used to have. This one doesn't have one of those. It's a nickel Teflon coating, which no doubt aids the smoothness of action. And if you remove the fore-end cap, you'll notice that the system looks very similar to how it's looked for over 50 years, but it's more robust. I have a confession to make, which is every time I see a newfangled composite stock that isn't wood, my heart always sinks slightly, because I'm a bit of a purist. But I'm growing out of that notion. The substrate that this is built on is really solid. It's got a really nice finish to it. It's light and effective. I mean, the one problem you've got with wood can swell, wood can crack, wood can vary. This thing won't move, whatever you do to it. You'll also notice that this stock is adjustable with an Allen key. Now, one of the problems with autos that use gas operation as opposed to inertia operation, like say a Benelli, is that the spent gases from the cartridge cycle the mechanism. All well and good. And in years gone by, when everyone was shooting 32-gram cartridges, cycling an action of one of these was never a problem. But of course, when 28-gram cartridges were made the norm by the Clay Pigeon Shooting Association, the problem was that some guns like this wouldn't cycle. And this one we shot today with 28 grams, it cycled flawlessly. I did test it. I put in some 24 grams and it wouldn't cycle those. And suffice to say, it wouldn't cycle 21 grams either. So if you want light loads and you want to shoot 21 grams, 24 grams, make sure you test it beforehand, because certainly the test model we've got today wouldn't cycle those, but with 28 grams you can shoot them all day long.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This has been The Shooting Show.